Sometimes we get confused, especially if we watch popular media talk about it, because the apocalypse, the coming of doom. But really, the book of Revelation is talking about Jesus, about the wedding feast of the Lamb, about heaven and how wonderful it's going to be. Yes, there's lots of symbolic language, and yes, there's pieces of it, like what we heard today, that it's easy to get confused because two witnesses, olive trees and lampstands that have fire coming out of them, that are protecting from things that can cause plagues on the world. But you got to keep reading. You got to get through the entire book to see that it's all about taking care of the evilness that is in the world. Because when you get down to it, as the psalm said, the Lord is our rock. He is our king. And it's perfect that today, being the 23rd, as Father Amani said at the beginning, we celebrate Blessed Miguel Pro. Because Blessed Miguel Pro was one of those people, like many who throughout the world have realized that Jesus is the king, more important than any suffering that we go through here on earth. Now, there are many people that aren't familiar with Blessed Miguel Pro, but his stained glass windows right over there, we should know at least something about him. He was in Mexico. He was a Jesuit priest at the time of President Plutarco Calles, who was a communist priest and wanted to do anything he could to get rid of the public worship of Jesus. He made it illegal for the priests to go out in public with their clericals. So if you see Father Manny now, almost always, you'll see him with his Roman collar and his black shirt. If you see Father Sam, you'll see him like that. But in Mexico, it was made illegal. And so today, there's a lot of Mexican priests that you will see walking out without their clericals on. And that's why that persecution began at the time of the communist president who had taken power in Mexico. And he made it illegal for public worship. So he expelled all the foreign-born priests. He made it difficult for people to go and receive the sacraments. And there were a group of people that said, Jesus is much more important. Jesus is our king. We need to fight against it. And so like Miguel Pro, who came, he was actually up here, really close to us here in California for a time. He would go through the city of Mexico City, and in disguise, he would get through the streets so they wouldn't be persecuted. He would have secret masses and secret baptisms and secret weddings so that people could continue to practice their faith. They became known as the Cristeros. And Miguel Pro was so devout that when he was falsely accused of being part of a plot to set off a bomb, he was captured and he was put to death. But it was wonderful, the story about his death, because President Calles wanted to make it as public as possible to be able to say, we got this horrible priest out of our way. And so he had photographers there at the execution of Blessed Miguel Pro. And what did Miguel Pro do? When he came out, he knelt down and prayed for those soldiers who were going to shoot at him. He told them, I forgive you for what you're about to do. And he blessed them. And then when the general or the sergeant was about to give the order, he raised up his arms and he said, Que viva Cristo Rey! See, all the Mexican people, that's it. You get that response. But if I said it in English, long live Christ the King. And it said, one person who already knew that I was going to say it. In English, we don't know what to do. But he raised up his arms and Que viva Cristo Rey, and died like that. There's television camera there present Because again, President Kai just wanted to look at the symbol of how we got rid of him. But just the opposite, it brought people together. His funeral was attended by hundreds of thousands of people who knew that Jesus was the king. Jesus was the center. So I'll encourage you today, not just to yell out, "Que viva," or "Long live Christ," but to act as if Jesus is our king. To act as if he is the center of everything that we do. That's a challenge. Not easy to do, because we'll get caught up in the world. We'll forget that this worship of him is much more important than anything we can do today.